The U.S. Bainbridge was a brig that saw service in the U.S. Navy from 1842 to 1863. It is named after Commodore William Bainbridge, a highly influential figure in the early days of the U.S. Navy. He saw action in multiple wars like the War of 1812, which was against the British Empire, and the Barbary Wars, which were against these kind of pirate states in North Africa that were backed or basically kind of like subordinate to the Ottoman Empire. 4 U.S. warships have been named after William Bainbridge. The USS Bainbridge had a displacement of 259 tons, a length of 13 meters, a beam of 7.6 meters, a draft of 4.3 meters, a speed of 11.5 knots, and a crew complement of 80 men. For its armament, it had 12 32-pounder carronades, and it was, for its propulsion system, it had kind of like sails, so the wind basically. The Bainbridge was laid down in early 1842. The vessel was constructed by Boston Navy Yard, and it was launched on the 26th of April 1842 and was commissioned into the U.S. Navy on the 16th of December that year. The ship's first commander was a man called Z.F. Johnston. The Bainbridge sailed from Boston on the 26th of January 1843 and joined the home squadron until returning to New York on the 3rd of May 1844. From the 26th of June 1844 to the 10th of October 1847, the Bainbridge served with the Brazil squadron. In October 1847, the Bainbridge was laid up at Norfolk for repairs. In March 1848, the Bainbridge was reactivated and was attached to the African squadron. As part of this assignment, the Bainbridge patrolled the coast of Africa looking for ships with slaves as cargo. It was then decommissioned at New York on the 18th of July 1850 and was then recommissioned into the Navy on the 8th of October 1851. Initially, the Bainbridge was deployed to South America, but was then ordered on a cruise to the African coast to basically combat the slave trade. Bainbridge was on this duty for 2 years before returning to New York on the 15th of August 1853. Then on the 30th of August 1853, the Bainbridge was decommissioned again. The vessel at this time was in New York. It was then recommissioned into the Navy on the 19th of October 1853 and assigned to the Brazil squadron. The Bainbridge was then decommissioned on the 18th of September 1856 and laid up at Norfolk for repairs. And then again, the Bainbridge was recommissioned into the Navy on the 28th of April 1858 and assigned to the Brazil squadron. The Bainbridge departed Hampton Roads on the 18th of May 1858 to join up with Sherbrooke's squadron, which was being sent to South America for potential operations against Paraguay. The cause of this potential war was basically the attack on the war by Paraguay, and this squadron was sent in response to basically get an apology and also monetary kind of like compensation from Paraguay. Now, is quite many historians view the American chances as quite actually that there was a high chance that they'd actually fail in any of their objectives, as they basically just lacked kind of like large caliber guns in this squadron to deal with the fortifications along kind of like the river and on kind of like basically they just didn't have the punching power needed. So it's quite likely that they would have been decimated by Paraguayan forces. So it's lucky for everyone involved that it did not erupt into war, as it would have been very costly for both sides, as eventually the Americans would have probably sent in their in the army, and that would be a bloodbath. The Bainbridge remained with the Brazil and African squadrons until it departed Rio de Janeiro on the 17th of September 1860. On the 9th of November 1860, the vessel reached Boston, where it was decommissioned again. And then it was subsequently recommissioned on the 1st of May 1861. Now, the obvious reason for it being recommissioned at this time was that the American Civil War had just begun, and the Union Navy, while far more impressive compared to their Confederate counterparts, was in desperate need of vessels to pursue their naval strategy and kind of like their war aims. The main naval strategy of the war for the Union was the blockade of Confederate ports to basically deny them the materials necessary for the war. So basically guns, food, right, and their ability to even sell cotton to the European powers, which both economically and politically basically starved the Confederacy. The Bainbridge was deployed to the Gulf of Mexico to help enforce the blockade and to also protect Union shipping in the region. On the 11th of May 1862, the Bainbridge captured the Newcastle, which was a Confederate schooner that had a cargo of turpentine and cotton. On the 24th of May 1862, the Bainbridge, along with the Amanda, captured the Swan, which was carrying cotton and rosin. On the 11th of June 1862, the Bainbridge captured another Confederate schooner, this time the Brig, which was carrying cotton, and like the other vessels, was likely bound for Europe. In September 1862, the Bainbridge was ordered to Aspinwall, Panama. While there, the vessel encountered a severe storm, and the crew, in order to keep the vessel afloat, had to jettison much of their equipment, armament, and supplies, such as the cannons and even their water supply. The storm obviously caused extensive damage, and the Bainbridge needed extensive repairs, and after this, it was ordered to New York. Late in the summer of 1863, the Bainbridge was assigned to the South Atlantic Blockading Squadron. While en route to this new station, the Bainbridge encountered a severe storm off Cape Hatteras, and it is during the storm that the Bainbridge capsizes. There is only one survivor from this sinking,